All right, we are recording. Okay, everybody, this is another edition of the Six Pack Dad Tribe podcast with Lisle Updike, one of our success stories in the program, and we want to talk to him a little bit about how and why he started and the successes that he's had through this program. Lisle, you've been in the program how long now?
It's been about 4 months. I decided to start on Christmas Eve of all times, but it was good time, and I said, look, I can either start ahead or start after New Year's way behind. So I was pretty pumped up and started the program Christmas Eve. So it's been about 4 months.
And that is a challenging time for a lot of people in general, diet and nutrition wise, is those holidays at the end of the year. So to dive into this at one of the biggest holidays of the year for most people is with back-to-back weekends, Christmas, and then you have New Year's coming right up. That's a tough 14-day stretch. Were you
Yeah, it was
daunted by
tricky.
doing that? Would that make you nervous to jump into this with those looming ahead of you?
I mean, I was really excited just to jump in right at the beginning. So, when your enthusiasm's up, that's when you're really going to knock it out, right there.
Right.
Versus if I'm 1 or 2 months in, then Christmas comes around, I'm not quite as excited anymore. So I figured it'd be a good time, and if that makes sense, to just jump right in. And I knew I'd be real enthusiastic right at the start. So
That's a good point you make. You get a couple months in and something big hits. It's easy to get into a comfort zone, and then you kind of can do some backsliding. That can be very discouraging sometimes to some guys. When they run into a weekend they can't navigate. So your enthusiasm was very high in the beginning, and I think that was a crucial part of you being successful, getting through those two major holidays right at the very beginning.
then you're coasting on New Year's resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I was down like 3 or 4, 5 pounds that first week, and then New Year's came, and yeah, it was a good time for the program.
Yep, yep. Well, let's start. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background? The Six Pack Dad Tribe is mostly comprised of, professional men, middle-aged-ish, I'll say, who are very professionally successful, but tend to not be as active as we need to be and neglected our nutrition. So why don't you fill us in on your background and what prompted you to seek out a program like this?
Yeah, you bet. So I'm 44 years old. Grew up in the D.C. area, Washington D.C. area, and then attended BYU. I studied as an undergrad economics. Got married, 6 children. Live in San Antonio, Texas. We've been here almost 18 years now, and I've I was going to go back get an MBA, and then I went and got green belt, black belt, master black belt certified, which is process reengineering for financial services companies. And then I moved to a technology company where I've been about 13, 14 years now, Rackspace Technologies, and I'm executive there doing leading what we call it's actually called the transformation team, where we set these ridiculous targets every quarter that we have to hit our numbers each, for our quarterly reports. I figure out where the gaps are with my teams, and then we just execute some initiatives to kind of close the gaps on either profit or revenue or whatever. So it's always changing. I like variety, and I like variety at work. I could not come to work and do the same thing every day, and so that's just a piece of who I am. I've I've been an athletic throughout my life. I've been competitive, I should say. I've always loved.
You are competitive.
Yeah, I'm very competitive. I love competing. It feeds me. And I played volleyball growing up. And then I got into disc golf at college, 4-man's golf as a side hustle. We'd win $40 a week at a little tournament, which was a lot of money back then. But yeah, I love competing. I love the outdoors. I didn't ever watch TV growing up. I'm fourth of 10 kids, 3 older sisters. They'd always pick what to watch on TV, so I'd go outside and play. So I've loved being outside. But, just over the last 10 years or so, 15 years, I've just noticed I'm hitting my midlife crisis, right? I'm slowly getting bigger, less energy, and stuff doesn't come off like it used to when you're just running outside playing. So,
yeah, that's there a lot of people try to downplay the slowing of your metabolism, and I think there's kind of a juxtaposition of the slowing of our metabolism as we hit our 40s. Plus, we're inherently less active. and we're neglecting that nutrition part of it. Most people are, not some. There are some extraordinary cases out there. So when you started the program, what was your number one initiative? Did you want the six pack abs? Is that what it tried? Like, I'm going in here, I'm gonna be 10% body fat, six pack abs, or did you have another larger goal in mind?
So I showed it to my wife and said, "Look at this guy. Haha. You think that's real?" And then she said, she said, "Yeah." And so the competition me right, I was right. I'm going to do this. See what I can do. Let's jump right in, do that. So it was a little competitive again, right? Where I wanted to jump in there. So that's really what it was. Yeah, I wanted to feel healthy. I wanted to lose weight. At Thanksgiving time, I was 227 pounds. And I'm a thin guy. Like, I have stick legs. I'm not like you've got bigger, you're broader chest, all that stuff, right? Big boned, all of that. And I have a real thin frame. And so when I'm fat, I look fat, right? And I'd see family pictures, and it's just embarrassing. Christmas cards, and you just don't notice it after a while, but you look back at a card, you're like, oh my goodness, I
Right.
I didn't let myself go. That's so embarrassing. But I see myself every day, day to day. You don't really notice it over time, but
You don't, not unless a spouse or somebody's, saying something to you. And then we
yeah,
get to that point, you're like, why didn't you say something?
that's right. Yeah,
You
that's
know,
right. Yeah,
and they love us and they don't want to, they don't want to be critical. So it's, sometimes it goes longer than it should, for sure.
yeah, yeah.
How much weight have you lost?
So I'm at 184. The last weigh-in here is I've lost in the program since December 24, 33 pounds.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, 4 months.
In 4 months, 33 pounds. And that's just another testament to how amazing the human body can be to respond to certain stimuli. When you hack it right with the nutrition and the activity, the stuff that your body will start to respond to.
Yeah.
And were you surprised at how quickly your body was responding to what seemed like pretty basic, you know, instructions?
Yeah, I was. I mean, it was, there's a science to this, right? And an art, but the science was pretty impressive where, you know, not all calories feel the same. They're not as
Mhm.
satiating. So that was interesting. I was like, hey, I don't want to, you can cut to 1500 calories, 1800 calories a day and just feel hungry and you'll lose weight. But are you losing muscle weight or
Mhm.
right? And you feel tired and groggy. If you just like have a Chick-fil-A meal and then a Panda Express meal, 750 calories each, I mean, it'll taste good, but I'm going to be starving after, right?
Right.
I love the science here and really wanted to get a feel for that early on. The protein piece makes you feel fuller, increases your metabolism. 100, 100-calorie chicken breast that I'm eating, 30 of those calories are going to burn off digesting that chicken versus a 100-calorie piece of Wonder Bread. Only 5 calories are going to burn off digesting the Wonder Bread. It's just not satiating. It's not getting my metabolism. So I didn't want to lose muscle. I wanted to lose fat. And I had plenty of fat to lose. So I don't know, 33 pounds isn't that impressive if you saw how fat I was. I mean, I wasn't fat, but it was, uh, I just looked, it was just not looking good.
Well, and that's how we define it. At our height and certain weight, how are you carrying it?
Yep.
And to us, it's look like, man, I was huge. And then there's guys that would say, well, I'd take, Lyle's starting weight all day long.
Sure.
I'm the same height as him, but I'm 280 pounds. I'd take
Mhm.
that 227 all day.
Yep.
There's a perspective there, but it's also that vision. What do you think you should look like? And
Yeah.
and recognizing that you have the ability to get to that, and just peeling off the muscle, because you're right. You could starve yourself, calorie deficit, and lose weight, but it's losing everything. Your body is cannibalizing every part of you, not just your fat stores, but it goes for easy things too. What's the easiest to get rid of? And you lose a lot of lean muscle mass at the same time. And then you get what Tyson calls skinny fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, you weigh 185 pounds, but you just look like a tinier version of yourself at 227. and that's not what your goal is. Your goal is to look lean and healthy. And I always tell Tyson, I don't really care what I weigh in the end if I'm looking the way I want to look, and I'm at the body fat percentage, and I feel strong and lean. It doesn't matter if I'm 230 pounds if the look is there. And a lot of guys
Yeah.
coming to the program, I think, are deceived by the fact that, one, muscle weighs more than fat. And when you strip all that fat off, you actually look more muscular and sometimes even bigger than you think you should.
Yep. No, I hear that. Yeah, muscle does weigh more than fat, and I love, Tyson really walked us through it. It comes off in thin sheets, right? The fat versus just you want to get your abs more cut, just do sit-ups, right? And
Right.
so six pack, you got to do a ton of sit-ups. But under there, y'all said you told me that they're under there, Lyle, and your core, I mean, does a ton. You're working out all the time, and it uses a lot of muscle all the time, right? Your core's always being built. It's just hiding under your fat. So get rid of your fat. And so,
Yeah.
so I mean, it's those podcasts or those the instruction out there on Kajabi is just awesome. And I've listened to just about everything out there for fitness and health. Not only is it pump me up a little bit, right? Inspirational, keeps my mental game there. But I mean, there's some great nuggets in there with just the fundamentals. Some
Yeah.
of these real simple fundamentals that are so easy to just gloss over and not focus on. So
Were the understanding of the macro and micronutrient science that we talk about, was that new to you? And did that seem, as you were learning it in the beginning, that actually was the major science behind what was going to happen with your transformation?
so I was always like, it's a good question. I knew lower calories means you lose some weight, and I knew if you eat healthy food, that's better than eating unhealthy food. But I had no idea. I've heard about protein shakes. I've had protein shakes. They fill you up, this and that. But I didn't know how much protein I was supposed to take or carbs, and I never measured it. I just was like, healthy, I'm going to pound this because it's healthy. It's good for me. Almond butter, I can eat half a tub of almond because almond butter is good for you,
Right.
with some celery, a few shreds of lettuce or some celery. So my mentality was, hey, I need to eat until I'm full generally, but as long as it's healthy stuff, I'll be in good shape. So the idea of, hey, these are kind of your numbers, Lyle, based on your height, your size, what you want to hit, and you will lose a couple pounds a week. And so I believed that, and I worked at it, and I measured it. I had the clean proteins, everything else. I got some good stuff that I loved to eat that fit the macronutrients, and it really, it helped me. It was enjoyable. It wasn't like, oh, I got to take this
Right.
crap for the next 90 days to lose weight. I wanted to transform, not
Right.
just and I think everybody does, instead of just, we've all done the 30-day, 90-day, this or that. But so yeah, the macros piece was a big deal. And I'm feeling it now. I can tell when I need to eat more fat,
Hmm.
carbs, because I know what that does to my body now in terms of my energy. And so it's been really interesting this last little bit. I'm a little more in tune with what my body wants and needs.
Did you find having to adjust to those things was particularly disruptive to your meals and how you ate with your family?
I eat, breakfast. I used to always make breakfast and I still make it, but I don't eat breakfast, right? I'll take a workout shake and work out generally in the morning around that. So I got kiddos that go to school and everything else. We're going in Texas here,
Yeah.
back to school and face to face, and have been almost all year. But I it has been a little different. I don't usually eat exactly what the family eats. I'm trying to figure all that out. I'll eat real close to what the family eats and we'll eat at the same time, but I'll have, like tonight, I had a 10-ounce, it was awesome, salmon
Mm.
fillet that was left over on a salad, and my kids had, shepherd's pie, we call it, right?
Mhm.
Hamburger pie or whatever. And it was really good. And they had salad, but dad had, the salad that they had. And so, but it's not disruptive, and they're not, they're happy for me. They can see the difference, and it's good. But eventually be nice. It sounds like a lot of the videos I hear with Tyson and his wife, and cooking, they do like a family meal and sit
Yeah.
down. now that I'm out of weight loss mode and more in maintenance and build mode, I think I can kind of get to that more, but I don't want to do it overnight, right? So I'm
Right.
trying to figure that out cautiously.
Yeah, they've got a system over at the at Tyson's house that, you know, their kids are eating relatively the same way Tyson kind of eats. And I know he's found it easy because as he travels during the day, it's really only that on the weekends or the dinner meal that they're navigating as a family. The rest of it, he's eating out of his cooler
Sure.
all the time, and
Yeah.
so it's not really a conflict. Like some people that are working from home, if your office is in your home, you're in your home food environment all the time. So it can be very challenging for a lot of guys to be able to navigate that and not feel like they're being disruptive
Yeah.
to their normal. Particularly, we always hope that everybody joins the program, their spouse is encouraging and supportive of what they're going to do, because that can be very difficult. Have you found any particular pitfall that was one of your most difficult things to navigate around?
At first, it was one of the micronutrients. It was sodium. Like I'd measure stuff, and it was like 4,000 milligrams of sodium. I didn't put salt on anything, but
Right.
everything has a ton of it, right? And I could tell it, that keeps your body retaining water and all of this stuff. But sodium was tricky. There wasn't the hard part for me was figuring out how to get food that I loved to eat. Again, I wanted to transform. Anybody can eat cardboard, and that's good
Mhm,
fiber, but I don't want to do that. That's not a transformation. That's a diet, right? And
mhm,
so I wanted to not eat cardboard, but I wanted to find foods that I really liked that were tasty that I could eat all the time, right? And but that had the good, lean proteins that had the good macronutrients that I needed, and trying to figure that out. So that was a big pitfall or obstacle right at first was, my numbers would look okay, but I was like, that was disgusting. I don't want to ever eat that again. You know? So it takes a few weeks to really figure out what you really want to eat versus just choking something down, at least for me. So
have you found a favorite go-to if if it was all you could eat and you need your calories, what's that go-to item?
yeah, I love so right now I'll do Greek yogurt is a good protein thing and it's tasty, it's good, it's cold, it's tangy, it's thick. I love that yogurt. And I'll add and it tastes nasty. I mean, it's plain yogurt, right?
Hmm.
Doesn't taste as nasty as it used to. I don't need sweets as much anymore. It's interesting
Right.
how your taste change, right?
Hmm.
Things taste so salty or sugary. If have I had cake and ice cream last night for somebody's birthday and it was so sweet. So I still ate it, choked it down. It was
Yeah.
awesome. But anyhow, so for the yogurt though, I'll add a scoop of vanilla. Um, Tyson's wife shared that. She said, add a scoop of this vanilla protein to your yogurt. And so I did, and it tastes awesome with some berries. So that's a good quick thing that's got a ton. I'll eat 7, 8, 9 ounces of yogurt with one of those. And I mean, that's 50 grams of 40 grams of
Yeah.
protein there. That fills me, that's delicious. Throw some blackberries in there for a little fiber and or blueberries, strawberries, whatever, just a little bit. I got a little keto cinnamon
Hmm.
blueberry yogurt is really good. Not yogurt, but granola. If I need a few more calories there, but I'll do that. Another thing I love to make is like vegetables can be tricky to get in because they take a while to prepare.
Hmm.
But I'll make like omelet slash fajita mix. You can throw it in anything with like a whole onion, a big onion. I love like serrano peppers, jalapeno
Hmm.
peppers. Chop those up. Some little bell peppers. I'll uh, I'll nail those. A lot of spinach, like 8 ounces of spinach. Right, it cooks down to almost nothing.
Hmm.
But and then just mix all of that together with some cilantro, some spices, and then I can throw some of that pre-cooked chicken in there.
Hmm.
Again, Tyson's wife shared that the pre-grilled chicken from Costco, right, which is phenomenal, and it tastes like a chicken fajita with a high fiber taco that's 50 calories, the Olay Extreme,
Hmm.
you know, and it tastes like a fajita, and it's fantastic. Or I can do a 3 egg omelet with that stuff in it as well. Add some bacon crumbles on top, and I'm eating delicious omelet. So I love that vegetable kind of mix that's pretty flexible. You can use it in a few different things, right? And but it's nice to have that kind of prepared, a big pot of that prepared. I can use 3 or 4 servings of it. across meals. So
I
that's a
think
go.
one
Those are a
thing,
couple of my go-tos. Yeah.
yeah, and those are great ones too. And it also helps, I think, coming into the program if you don't have. It's hard to be super picky and stay not boring with your food.
Oh,
Because it's easy to eat, a grilled chicken breast
yeah.
and some
Broccoli.
broccoli every meal every day. You could do that, but at some point you're like, I don't ever want to eat chicken again, and I never want to see broccoli.
Yep.
And that's not the goal. So it does help if your palate is kind of accepting of particularly vegetables and green vegetables. Those are the ones that we really promote. And if you're super adverse to that stuff, this does become um, difficult to navigate through, because the last thing you want to do is live off of protein shakes, for 12 months and get all your nutrients in, or 12 weeks, and then it's not sustainable. Like you said, it's not really a transformation.
Yeah.
You reach a goal, but now what do you do? Because you're going to put real food in your body, and your body's going to respond differently.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you
That's a great
have
point.
you kept any kind of um, comfort food from the old Lisle days prior to the program that you sneak, that you're like, man, I really, I'm holding on to this one thing, and I'm going to treat myself periodically?
Oh yeah, I'm a VIP member at Texas Day Brazil, which means I get 12 meals a year that are half price. We went on Saturday and I spent 23 bucks for me, 23 bucks for my wife. We took out another couple and I pounded 4,000 calories of picanha and their salad bar and it was
Awesome.
fantastic, right? So it was great. So yeah, and that was a big meal. It's like 300 grams of protein, all the meat. There was some salt in some of it or a lot
Yeah.
of it, but it was a kind of a cheat week meal. But yeah, I would go out and I worked at Outback Steakhouse when I was in college for a little bit. So that's, I know the restaurant. It bugs all my kids. I know the menu still. I tell them what's going on. They have 12 minutes after they drop our hot plate ticket to I tell them all the behind the scenes. They get sick of it. But we go to Outback and other places. I don't there isn't something at home that I do, but yeah, we'd love to just go pound some churrascaria food at Texas Day Brazil. I haven't talked to you guys about that yet because I'm worried what you'd say. But every now and then I do.
Yeah,
We go do it and it feels good. It reminds my body I'm not starving, or
it does.
and
And
it's
what and a good point to add to that, and I'm glad you brought that up and mentioned the calories and the amount of protein in that, because when we transform like this and we can get our bodies on a path of transformation, we're giving it responsibility. And when you have a meal like that, you're giving your body the onus of, it has to do something with it, because this is not how you normally eat. And so it has the responsibility to say, I have to, either I'm going to store all this or we're going to burn it off. But this isn't our normal path of eating. So your mind says we have to get rid of it. It can't stay. So however it processes that, and 300 grams of protein in one meal, obviously your body is not using all that 300
no, no,
grams of
no.
protein.
Yeah,
You wasted a lot of protein in that meal, but that's okay, because it's the idea of giving your body something completely unusual from the plan, so it doesn't get into that regular routine. And I think that's fantastic that you do that, and not afraid of the 4,000 calories or whatever it is.
yeah,
Whatever the fat turns out to be, whatever your carbs turn out to be, we don't care in that particular meal, and that's the beauty of it. And your body has now learned exactly how to process that kind of food event that
yeah,
you're putting it through.
yeah.
And that's very important to learn. And I think there's a lot of guys in the program that struggle with that cheat. We all call it whatever we want to call it, cheat meal day or cheat whatever. They struggle with that concept of, I'm going to go back. I've been so good, and I feel guilty because I had, like the Outback bread.
Oh
You know,
man,
that's
210
that little
calories.
brown loaf of bread. Tell me you can't eat that entire loaf by yourself.
We
You
order
can't.
honey butter. We order honey butter with it.
That's
That's a
right.
hack at Outback.
It's like everybody gets their own loaf because it's not enough to share in that little loaf there. But the guilt that some guys would have after I've eaten this bread. Now what do I do? Do I, do I have 2 hours of cardio? How do I combat this? Do I fast the entire day? how do I get past all that? And the reality is you don't have to. You just
Yeah.
jump right back into your routine.
I loved that, Jeffrey. That helped early on. I said, "Hey, Jeffrey, what do you do when you have like a bad day?" And that's not Tyson's bad day, which is I ate 500 extra calories of oatmeal, But my bad days are like, okay, like, yeah. So, just jump right back in the next day and do your 1500, 1800 calories and just with it. And so that was really helpful counsel for me
Yeah.
mentally. So I really appreciate you saying that because I was thinking, oh crap, I gotta fast only 50 grams of carbs for the next 3 days. You said, no, no, no. You do that. Yeah, another thing, you said 100 grams of carbs or less a day, and there were some days where I was doing like 70 or 80. You said, Lyle, it's 100, not less than 100. Or fat. I was doing like 20 grams of fat some days because everything's fat free just about except olive oil that I cook with. But you said, no, 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 no. You got to hit 50 grams of fat and 180 grams of protein. Less is not more. You need to hit these macros. So that's an insight. Some people I know that I've talked to already on the mastermind and other things are like less calories is more. No, to get this machine going, you need to hit a target, and there is a floor and a ceiling.
Hmm.
Not just say, hey, below the floor is good, or you're going to go into starvation mode, yada
Hmm.
yada yada. So
All that produces results short term. But your body does. I mean, we go back to talking about how amazing the body is. It learns. I mean, it's a learning machine. So how you treat it, it learns to behave in that manner. And by continually putting yourself in such a either a carb deficit or calorie deficit, your body learns to deal with that, and it stops responding,
yep.
or it starts producing results that you don't want. Like, I'm only eating 1,200 calories, but why is the scale not moving anymore?
Yeah.
Or why did the scale go up? Well, your body is saving everything now. It's not processing anything because it's terrified that you're starving it to death,
Yeah.
and it wants to live.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
body wants to survive. That's an inherent function. So the less is not more. And I'm glad to hear that the mastermind, that stuff comes up in those mastermind discussions in some of those classes that we have, because that's exactly what those groups are for, is to get talking amongst, the clients themselves, and not just listening to Andrew or myself or Tyson, that you guys can share experiences that you relate to, and positives and negatives.
Yeah. Jeffrey, we've talked a lot about like the food side, the nutrition
Mhm.
side. Another big change for me has really been just the daily exercise every day now. It was at first, every other day I was doing resistance training. Then the other every other day I was doing cardio. My favorite
Mhm.
cardio is just up and down my stairs
Right.
for a minute, just jogging or stepping, and then skipping every other one really fast, and then just walking at the bottom for a minute, catching my breath. And I started with four of those. Now I'm doing eight, right, where I can go 8 or 9, almost a half hour of the high intensity interval training. I do running, like I ran 2.5 miles today after I worked out my legs. But I'm working out 6 days a week, and it's not 3 hours in the gym, it's 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Today was probably 15, 18 minutes doing my legs. And then I ran. And so that's helped so much with my energy too, and I have never worked out like that, but every day working out. So some people think it's just the food, this or that, but
Mhm.
you all have been real clear that to get that fat burning machine going, a big piece of metabolism is exercise, and this type of exercise, not just hitting the gym, sitting around forever, but the
Right.
way that y'all have talked through, you do a whole set, right? And go from exercise to exercise really quick without stopping, 8 to 12 reps, whatever. I'm doing a little less now, six to
Mhm.
nine, heavier, but it's those are some of the fundamentals that are just huge, have been huge for me, and it's happening, man. My arms, my chest, everything's getting bigger, and it's just really cool. So
Well, it's neat because as you strip that fat off of your body, you can see the results of those muscle bellies tightening and filling up, and swelling a little bit, so that you have that muscular definition that you're looking for. And yet you're not bigger than you were. And as you will put on lean muscle weight, so the scale will move the other direction, but that's okay in this instance, as you know, as you fill out that lean shape that you're looking for. And I think again, there's a lot of guys, and I hope the mastermind classes, bring this up as well, is that, it's that hit cardio, or not just cardio, but the hit workouts, that's very important to have as part of the routine. Nutrition is only part of it. It's a big part of it, but without the activity, you're really handicapping yourself and making the kind of progress that you want to. And there are a lot of guys that come into the program and say, I want to do everything but work out. I just wanted nutrition. And you're like, okay, we can do that, but this is what you have to expect. And
Yeah.
so to get the kind of results you got, and the stuff like Ron Paul, the successes that he's had, that activity is crucial in you guys moving the needle the way that you did.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun. I've broken it down and I've shared a little bit. There's different elements of this transformation for me, right? It's not just diet and exercise, which is what we hear,
Right.
but like one of them is tracking everything. That's one of the most fundamental things. And again, in the mastermind and a couple other places, there's people that are like, what's my fitness, whatever, my fitness pal, what is this? It's like, you're not tracking, you've got to track, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm eating healthy food, kind of like I was before. So, I mean, that's a fundamental. And at first it was hard to track everything.
Right.
And then I was like, who cares if I had 6 Oreos? They're I'm not gonna this is for me, I need to just be honest with myself. So it took me so the next day I logged the 6 Oreos as an evening snack and whatever. But tracking everything is a fundamental, and now it just is a no-brainer for me. And all my stuff's in the database, so it comes up super duper quick. But
Right.
and then the snacks, the amount of fat I'm taking, the workouts, all of those are just basic fundamentals that some of those are harder for me than others. Not feeling hungry was hard for a little bit until I learned what the satiating foods were. And it's not just trick on your brain. I mean, they are satisfying. That stuff is staying in your stomach longer. And it's not magic or anything like that. It's
Right.
science. So yeah, I've loved breaking down the elements for myself and being honest with myself of how am I really doing with my sodium, right? And what do I want to work on this week for sodium? I don't look at just a day and say, oh, I was bad yesterday at this, but I look at my weekly average, my rolling 7-day average, and that helps me a ton because I'm going to have bad days where I eat a lot more fat or 300 carbs or whatever course of the week. If I'm down to 100 120 averaging, or 200 130 50 whatever, it's then I'm doing fine. So sometimes we can get caught up, beat ourselves up, fall off the bandwagon for a bit because we ruined a day. But I made the decision early on to just kind of look at my rolling 7-day, you know.
I think that's really smart, and the fact that you talk about tracking and having to track everything because it's so important. I mean, you can look back from the beginning and how much knowledge have you gained as to what is in what you're eating. You talked about the 6 Oreos. How many calories are in fat and sugar and all that are in 6 Oreos? It's a lot.
Yeah.
When you think about it, it's just 6 cookies this big.
Yeah.
That's a day of new,
Yeah.
of stuff in there. And if you do that repeatedly, there's nothing your body can do but store that and just turn it into fat. It's not going to, say we're just going to get rid of this Oreo. Now, right now, if you eat 6 Oreos, your body's going to reject it, in
Yeah.
one way, shape, or form. And you mentioned, I want to touch on this real quick. You mentioned how your tastes change over time. You're eating healthy, eating good. How biting into something that has a lot of sodium in it already, how sensitive you become to those things, and it almost turns you off. Or I found that for me, some of that stuff, you bite into a hot dog now, there's a
Right.
lot of sodium in hot dogs, and it's like, why isn't that taste as good as it used to?
Yeah. I mean, I can choke down a hot dog, right?
Sure.
But yeah, you notice that. And yeah, salt's a big one. Sugar too, just sweet. I had mint
Yes.
chocolate chip ice cream last night for Susan's birthday. It was great. Big strawberry Nadler cake. I only had a little piece of it, but it was I'm all defensive. I didn't
I
have
know.
but no, but I was like, this is so sicky sweet. Now I still enjoyed it, but I went to Norway. I was serving in Norway for 2 years, and I came back and was like, the bread, cheese, and yogurt here is so sweet, and you can taste the chemicals versus in Norway, the yogurt doesn't have right? And the jam even it's just so much more bland. gone for 2 years, I come back and you just get used to stuff, and I'm like, this bread, it just tastes like chemicals versus the fresh
Yeah.
bread. But you don't, it takes a while to get used to. But yeah, that's a big deal. Is I've noticed now my protein shakes taste like a little saltier. I have the Optimum Nutrition,
Mhm.
chocolate. They're fantastic, but I notice it tastes kind of salty, so I water them down just a little more now. They taste the same. That's the same elements that were in them
Right.
4 months ago. But anyhow,
Right.
yeah,
But it's those little things as you're figuring out how to, exactly what's working for you.
yeah,
The other point too, as we talked about working out, you mentioned, you're running stairs and you're doing, the stuff in your house, how important it is to realize it doesn't take a fancy gym membership to do this. You don't have to belong to Gold's Gym. You don't have to have a personal trainer out there that's running you through these workouts for an hour or so, every time you go into the gym. This is body weight type, exercises that are getting the results out of this stuff. Maybe a light resistance weight training if you have the equipment, but by and large, this can be accomplished through, a hit workout through, whatever you can find around your house, or your neighborhood to get the activity in. The activity is the importance, not, the specifics of what you're doing. It's getting that activity in your heart rate up.
yeah.
And that doesn't
That
cost anything.
That's a great point. Tyson's been encouraged me to get like a bench
Mhm.
to do, so a single barbell. But I just have dumbbells right now. I mean, here's my home gym right there, right? I got
There it is.
from 10 pounds up to 50 pounds. And then I've got my workout, my little workout machine over there and just a flat bench. And that's all I use. So I've had to get creative with barbell workouts, but
Sure.
I don't think I would transform. I'm not going to have a personal trainer for my whole life. I don't want to maintain a Gold's Gym membership, even though it's a mile away.
Yeah.
I don't want to be away from the house that long. And if I go there, I'll be an hour and a half, or an hour, and it's nice, but I want to figure out how I can do it here. And I know you were like, Lyle, if you want to work your legs, trust me, you got to use these machines. I'm gonna do it. And then I didn't because I said, I don't think I'll be transforming. I don't see myself doing that forever, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
So, so I hope you're okay with that. But I'm learning other.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a ton we could still do. I mean, it all depends on the goal,
Yeah.
So let's talk just briefly about you've gone through a weight loss transformation. We've gotten you to that weight, where we think is okay, this is enough weight to lose. And we're dialing this up and moving the needle the other way with building lean muscles. What kind of goals are you setting for yourself now? We were losing fat. We want to gain lean muscle, but what's the end goal here? What are you looking to achieve now, moving this direction?
I talked to my wife about that because I told her, hey, I'm ready for phase 2 here. I've hit my targets just last week, 7.9% body fat, 184 pounds. I was 185 and 8% was my goals, right? And it was hard. That was
Yeah.
hard work. That last percent or two of body fat was hard, but I knew the formula for burning that fat, right? I stepped on another scale and it said 8.7 or something body. So I'm like, crap, which one's right? But I was like, no, I'm staying with this one.
Yeah, go with the other one.
It's kind of like my Fitness Pal. I'll find a strip steak that's home cooked and it'll have more calories for 6 ounces. I'm like, oh, that one only has 240. I'll pick that one. But anyhow, it just makes me feel good. But it was I forgot where I was going there. But
Goals for gaining lean muscle.
yeah, so I've been talking yeah, that's right, to my wife about it, and I wanna be strong, feel strong, have a lot of endurance. I play ultimate frisbee every Saturday. That's a great workout, cardio, 800 calories, burning every Saturday morning. And I'm flying now, where I'm like sprinting. These hit things are good. It's like an ultimate hit workout for 90 minutes.
Hmm.
But I want to be able to keep up with my kids. My kids are athletic. They love sports. Daughter was big high school basketball kid, and my son runs half marathons, and he's a good kid, right? And they love that stuff. And I don't just want to be the old guy holding the jackets at Disneyland while everybody rides around. Someone really good in one of these podcasts said that. I thought that was hilarious. Um, but I felt that way sometimes. Like, no, I'm a
Hmm.
father. Soon I'll be a grandfather. What grandfathers do is sit and hold the coats while the kids ride the ride. So it's a little bit of a pride thing, competitive thing with my kiddos, just keeping up,
Sure.
feeling healthy, staying healthy. Self-confidence is a big thing. I mean, I want to look the part if I can, you know. I meet with our CEO every week, COO, CFO, right? Just in my role working through everything. And I know that it's important to be healthy and look healthy and feel healthy. I want to have the energy, and I want to live a long time and just be able to work hard and serve. We're trying to retire here pretty
Sure,
soon. We've been real blessed and lucky with things, but then what? Am I just going to golf every day, drive a cart? No, let's, I want to have energy to have a lot of options, live a long time. So I should probably have real specific goals. Like I want my biceps to be 15 inches. Well, I'm not. I'll tell you, Jeffrey, I'm a little worried. I'm like, man, if I get back into the weight gaining mode, I'll just start justifying. I'll be 200 pounds and 210. My fat will go up. So I kind of want to stay in a holding pattern for a
sure,
little bit just to say, I got this. I got
sure.
this. I did it. And I didn't just do it, but I can maintain this weight for a couple months. And I know how to do it. And so I'm kind of happy for a minute, just sticking here, staying with the workout routines. I'm getting stronger. The weights,
Hmm.
I'm putting on, not putting on more weight, but I'm using heavier barbells now. I need to find 60 pounders for for a couple of these things. But it's yeah, my goal wise, I want to definitely maintain and make sure it's not just well, he lost all that weight
Right.
in 4 months and then gained it back in 6 months. But I do want to feel healthy, keep the energy. The cardio I want to keep up. Um, I had a big thing this last week. You all said it's better to do cardio after you work out so that you're not tired. So there were a few days where I was tired after the workout, so I didn't do cardio. And I usually did cardio beforehand. It's a cheap way to stretch before
Yeah,
you, or warm up before you stretch, is
it is.
pound it. But y'all were saying it's better if you're trying to build muscle to do the cardio afterwards. So I tried that, and there were 2 days last week where I didn't do any cardio after I worked out, and I could feel it the next day when I tried to do more cardio. So I want to, but this week I've been doing it, afterwards, and it was great. Again, 2.5 miles after my leg workout today. But it's I just want to have the energy, feel stronger. Self confidence is important to me.
Hmm.
I don't see myself as self centered or insecure, but I want to feel confident and bring it. So
Hmm. Well, there's a lot to be
yeah,
said about, when people are healthy looking and have a healthy energy, the credibility that people assign to them. Whether that credibility is there or not, you look the part. And being healthy and having a healthy routine really goes a long way to how we present ourselves to the public and to our employers and our coworkers or clients or whatever that is. It's another important aspect. It's kind of understated, but we all have that in there. We want to look good and feel good. Nobody wants to say, "Well, I can't wait to go outside today and look bad and feel bad." Nobody says that.
yeah,
You want to look good and you want to feel good.
yeah,
You want your clothes to fit nice. You want people to, look at, hey, that guy knows what he's doing. And being
yeah,
healthy is one way that people attribute that. This guy must be successful. This guy knows what he's talking about. And that's just one part of it. So those are good
yeah.
goals. And I don't think you have to worry about as we go into a lean muscle building phase. I don't. I think you're assigning some justification to that. That's not going to be there. Some mindset that's not really there, and you'll find that out. It's the same as losing the weight. As disciplined as you're going up, because there's a science to that as well. And as you learn that
Mm.
science, um, as much energy and enthusiasm that you have, I know that you're going to embrace this the same way. So that'll be fun to watch. Before we wrap this up, do you have any suggestions for guys that are just starting this program? What would be one nugget of knowledge that you could impart on them for them to, if they had nothing else, pay attention to this?
So you want to learn the fundamentals and not just yeah, I know them, but you want to learn. There's 3 or 4 big fundamentals with this program, and you got to do that or you're going to miss the mark all the way. That's your foundation, right? And so tracking everything's a big deal. Don't just track 4 days a week and then not on the weekends. You got to track everything. That's huge. The protein is a big deal, and it makes you feel more full. So you want to be able to track things. I'd give the uh, advice to find kind of a variety of cardio if that's what you want. Um, Figure out workouts that work for you, but try to transform. I listed everything that I do, the different elements, and kind of where I'm at on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of difficulty. Like fasting is an element, and it's important. You don't have to fast, just like you said earlier. You don't have to work out. Now, you'll burn fat a lot easier if you do, but even if you just cut your calories back, that's good. But I don't want to just be good. I want to, transform. And so I've broken it down into all these dimensions. There's like 15 of them. One is fasting, and I rated myself a 1 out of 10, meaning it's super easy for me to fast. That has not been a problem at all, because I take 2, 3 shakes when I work
Mhm.
out in the mornings, right? Cardio and having a variety and enjoying cardio. It's just doing it because I have to do it. I want to enjoy it. And so, I rated myself about a 5 there. Sodium, it was a big deal for me. So I just listed out a bunch of these dimensions. A calorie deficit. How am I really doing at that without feeling hungry? So if I can't take 1,500 calories and I feel starving at the end, then I need to fix something. And I haven't transformed that piece, and I need to get better at that. So I'm about a 3. That's about 3 difficulty wise. It's not very hard for me to feel really full after 1,500 calories. I've learned what it is, and so on. There's just, the protein, the carbs, the workouts. I've rated myself there. Protein's a 3. It's not very hard. Carbs a little harder to stay under the carb goal for me. 5. That's 5. Workouts. I'm doing well at. Fats easier for me. Snacks are easier for me. Those Robert Irvine bars are fantastic. And then just tracking everything. I've rated myself about a 4, but it's probably a little better now. Taking in the water is very easy for me, and I track it, right. Fiber is the hardest thing for me right
Mhm.
now. So I'm tracking that. That's a 10 out of 10 difficulty wise. I have not hit my fiber goal of 38 grams hardly ever, unless I eat just crap fiber, which is, I want the wholesome, good fiber, not just chemicals that are
Mhm.
fibrous. So anyhow, my recommendation would be early on, list out what you want to transform. Those were the things I wanted to transform, right, from fasting. And then kind of rate yourself and say, how am I really doing at this? Scale of 1 to 10, how would I rate myself here? And then set mini goals about, hey, I was a 5 on carbs this week out of 10. Sorry, the number system's confused, but
Right.
it's kind of right in the middle. I can do better with carbs. Let me figure out things that are low carb that taste great, or whatever that looks like, right? And get it to maybe a 4 or 3 so it's not as difficult. And if
Right.
we can do that and then maintain that, then we're transforming versus just gritting, white knuckling it through one more day or one more week. So I really want to transform. And I think you probably, all of you want to transform as well. So just figure out the dimensions of your transformation, the elements of it, figure out which ones you really need to tackle and go do it. Instead of ignoring them and saying, I don't want to do that, I'll do the other ones. Just, figure out which one you want, what you need to do to fix it, and seek counsel here from Tyson and your other folks if you can, or the blog.
Right.
Um, so anyhow, that would be my recommendations. Track everything for sure. That's foundational. And then learn the program. There's a lot out there that we have access to, with Sherry and with Tyson. Those they're giving some great hacks, and so go through those and figure out which ones of those work for you, and just engage a little bit, and it'll, I've loved it. I've enjoyed this. It hasn't been painful, or first couple weeks were tough to track and just transform, but it's a breeze now for me. I'm being honest. It's easy. I don't feel like I'm torturing myself or starving, or working out too much. I don't get sore when I'm working out. The muscle groups are all
Mhm.
warmed up and going. I'm a little sore after some of the heavier ones, but
Right.
anyhow, so enjoy it and figure out your dimensions and work through it.
That's great. That's fantastic advice. And Tyson and I were all, when you mentioned that, breaking those things down into certain elements, what a great mindset hack that was, because it really puts it in perspective instead of looking at it as, this daunting big thing, breaking it down. And that's not rocket science either. That's basic. You break things down into smaller chunks, they're easier to tackle and achieve what you're doing. And you figured out how to do that and apply that to the program. So that was, a lot of guys don't do that. They get stuck on, I just can't do it. Rather than, well, I'm good at part of it, but now I'm going to work on the part I'm not good at because the other part is coming natural to me. And that's just fantastic advice for the new guys. So, well, we're coming right up on an hour here, and so I want to thank you, Lyle. This has been fantastic. This is a lot of fun information. This whole journey has just been so much fun working with you on this and seeing the transformation that you've made and what you brought to it yourself, and not just being spoon fed what we've given you. You've added to it and truly embraced it. And that's where your success has come from. And we can't be more happy with the success you've made. And we're looking so forward to this next phase of transformation for you. So I want to say thank you again. This is a Six Pack Dad Tribe podcast. This was Lisle Updike. I'm Jeffrey Smith, and we want to thank you. Have a great evening. Stop recording. Okay.